So I'm joined today by Rob Campbell. Rob, I've noticed, is a champion for diversity, and so I wanted to dig into that topic a little bit more deeply with him today. So Rob, can you give me a bit of a summary as to what diversity is? And I'm not sort of referring just to lady, man, you know, true diversity.
Well, you know, I guess I came to the realisation fairly late in life that we tend to think in quite static patterns about our lives, and most of my life's been in business, so let me talk about business. I know something about that. And we tend to look at our business as if everyone was like us. Everyone that we work with, everyone that we supply or cater to, we think of as this kind of average staff member or supplier or consumer or banker, whatever, as a unit which is sort of all the same. And they're not, is the problem. And in our society, increasingly, we just have an enormous amount of diversity, quite apart from gender diversity, which I still think is critical because we still treat women in business as if they were a minority, and they're not, so that's probably not a good way to approach it. But we also have in our population an increasing, not only numeric diversity, but people who want to express their differentness, be that sexuality or ethnicity or nationality, or even express their disability as being part of them. And I think that's a great thing about the way the world's evolved in the last 2 or 3 decades. But people don't want any longer to be in that uniform average box that we always tended to put them into. So to me, a business that doesn't recognise that diversity is missing out on a lot. And a business that does recognise that diversity is going to gain a lot. So there's my business case for focusing on diversity. I mean, the more you think about it, the more you think it's the right thing to do too, which is not unimportant. Yes. That it is a better world for all of us if we treat all of the different ways that people are people as if they were valuable and worthy of respect. And you know, we haven't always done that in business. I don't think it's any worse than other parts of society about that, but we also haven't been leaders in it. Yeah. You called me a champion, you know. It's a funny thing that, but men are funny things. This is probably a surprise to you, but it's always struck me as strange that when in the business world, people who were leading the push for gender diversity wanted to get male businessmen support, they formed an organisation called Champions for Change. And we all joined, all the chief executives and chairs and all the big businesses guys, and we went to these lunches and launches, and I think felt pretty good about ourselves. And I don't think many of us thought, you know, isn't it a bit odd that we needed to be called champions to do anything about this? And in fact, a lot of the so-called champions have done rock all about it, other than go to the lunches and award one another prizes for how well they've done. So we've got a long way to go in this. So I don't know if I'm a champion, but I am quite passionate about it.
Yeah. Now, from a business case, what are the advantages in business to having a diverse team, diversity and governance?
Well, never go away from the fact it's the right thing to do. I have to keep reminding myself about that because it enables everyone in society to contribute at an equal level as much as they wish to do. So that's, to me, you should never forget that. But from the business's point of view, if you don't have diversity, for example, I'm a board member, so I think about it a lot in terms of boards, but if at your board table you look around it and everyone looks like you, that might be quite comforting in a way, but it has to dawn on you that in that circumstance, how do I understand the Pacific Island people who come in from South Auckland to clean my offices at night, and who I employ to do that, or stock my shelves, or whatever it might be? How do I, looking around here, how do I understand my customers who I know are, say, 80% female? And guys, none of us look to be female to me. So the chances, two examples, the chances that you're not missing something are kind of, they're silly chances. You wouldn't even try them at the casino. So you just must be missing out on a whole lot of ways of understanding your environment. And a business that doesn't understand its market, doesn't understand its environment, is missing out on a lot. So I think that's to me is the core of the business case. I think also that, and the final point really is that not only are you missing out on understanding, but you're inevitably missing out on a whole lot of skills in your workforce. That, you know, why would you cut yourself off from half of the community in terms of gender? Why wouldn't you, when we know that, for example, the gay dollar, the pink dollar, or whatever you like to call it, is an important component of a lot of consumer activity? Why would you cut yourself off from really understanding and accessing that community? One thing I've learned a lot about recently, because like most men, I only learn when someone comes up and hits me over the head with a piece of 4x2, and then I suddenly think, oh wow, that's a bit important, is disability. I've just been amazingly struck by meeting with some disability advocates and people from the disability community. You know, 40% of the New Zealand workforce have some kind of recognisable, demonstrable disability of some kind. And in the mid-20s is even what the normal person would call a disability. This is immensely hidden, and we don't access that. And when you think about that in terms of workforce and think, well, you know, there's this person who is dyslexic or in a wheelchair or has some other kind of, or blind. I met a blind baker the other day. And when you think about it, someone who has that kind of disability and is working or available for work has addressed some really tough things to get to that starting line. So they'll have learned some things. They don't need to be taught about resilience. They don't need to be taught about adaptability. They don't need to be taught about application, because they've lived that. And they carry that into the workplace. And yes, there'll be some things they can't do. There's quite a lot of things I can't do. Might even be some you can't do. But they will have those things, but they also bring a lot from their life experience that business can benefit from. And I think this is one of the areas that we'll learn a lot more about in the next few decades. But one last thing about that, and I've noticed it most particularly in trying to address issues of ethnic diversity. I'm increasingly liking the term racial diversity. I think we have gone to this ethnic thing because no one likes to talk about race. So let's call it racial diversity without getting into a scientific argument about it. Is in business, there are all these programs about how do we get more Māori people into business, or how do we get more Pacifica people into business. And when I look at those programs, and it's not a criticism of the people engaged in them, but a lot of what that is about is trying to make the young Māori or Pacifica person, or the young Indian or Chinese person, fit into the mould that was already there. How do we make that person fit for being in the business? And I think, on reflection, and to my disgrace and other people's disgrace who've been thinking about this for a while, we had the question wrong. The issue should be, how do we make our business fit these types of people? How do we make our business more friendly to a Māori or Pacifica person? How do we make our business more friendly to a person, Chinese person? Because in Auckland, you try and run a business without Chinese people, you're going to be in some difficulty. And what we want is those people to not be like us. The whole point is that they are different, that they do have different characteristics and aspirations and contributions to make, and business needs to be open to those. So it's not, might seem reasonably obvious, but what we've got to do is not make those people fit our model, but make our model fit the people that we have in our community.
That pretty much summarised my last question, which was how do you achieve genuine, authentic diversity?
My job's to have the ideas, not to do it, Jim. Look, it's a really good point, and I think the point to emphasise is these things are easy to say, but they are not hard to do. There is pain and discomfort and cost in making changes to run your business in these ways. And I guess that's why not enough of us do it. But the future isn't very bright if we don't find ways to do it, because the future is diverse, so we really don't have a choice. But I think it's foolish to recognise that it's all, we're all happy and love each other, and all we have to do is celebrate Diwali festival once a year, and the Indian people will feel happy. It's a lot more than that, and there will be discomfort. It will be difficult.
Thank you for sharing those insights with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for chatting.